We are live. Welcome to a special edition of the CK podcast. I'm your host, Leo Biaz. First of all, I just watched a video of LeVar Ball talking about no girl will ever love LaMelo Ball because of who he is. And he pretty much called every single girl a hoe. And that's what he's going to attract wherever he goes, to a restaurant, to the arena, to the club. And not only is he out of line, but I couldn't help but just laugh at the clown that he's become. Well, he's always been a clown, but I mean, come on, you don't really. But does it surprise me? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because both he and other people that I can't name for political reasons are just pretty silly on so many levels, and they don't really think before they talk. And yeah, there will be a handful of women who are after his money. Make no mistake about it. I'm not stupid, but to pretty much just minimize the woman and essentially call every single girl he's going to encounter. And he pretty much said, if you're 30 and she's there and she's looking good, something's wrong with her. It's just, man, he just generalized everything, and he made a lot of enemies. That's all I'm going to say. But welcome to a special edition live from Houston, Texas. It was a great day today of work, of shooting, and I promised you guys that I would do my best to try and cover all the bases that I could. And so much has happened since the last podcast, which was last Tuesday. I told you guys that I would do a podcast on Tuesday, and I found a little spot here in my hotel room. Shout out to SVG for providing the opportunity to help them out with the next 4 days. So I'll be today. We are in Houston, Texas tomorrow. I'll be in Lake Charles, then New Orleans, and then in Texas. In Florida. So yeah, it's been. And then last week I was in Arizona. Got home last night for a couple of hours to sleep, pretty much, and then I got here roughly about 1ish. It's been a hell of a ride, man. This is gonna be a cool documentary, and also helping this company out with a lot of their video marketing. But let's get to a lot of the NBA news, bro. I'll get to all the questions that I got pertaining to Kings on Cowbell Kingdom, but first and foremost, let's go over the news. So the Rockets are asking a big price for Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They're saying for James Harden that they want a proven young star and a massive package of draft picks. Okay, I told you guys that would happen about a month and a half ago. That's fair to ask for, especially for a guy who's considered to be a top 5 player. I have no problem with that. Okay, so number two though, for Russell Westbrook, they're saying they want a young talent or first round picks. Now again, they will probably get that because a guy who's 32, who was just an all-star last season, who still has a lot left in terms of being a very good player. To me, he's not a number one or number two, but he very well could be a great number three. Maybe the Lakers, they're saying that they're interested. So that makes sense. And there was a package out there, Caldwell Pope and Kuzma and something else. But if they get some first round picks and they got Kuzma, I just don't know how many picks the Lakers have left in terms of what can they give up because of all they gave up for Anthony. Willing to trade PG for Russell Westbrook, that would be an awful mistake. PG is so much better than Russell Westbrook, regardless of what happened in the playoffs. You want to get another guy who isn't very good in the playoffs and who wouldn't complement Kawhi Leonard the way Paul George could potentially do. I mean, they had a very good season. Make no mistake about it. They overlooked the Denver Nuggets and they lost. They were up by double digits 3 games in a row and they couldn't close a deal. That doesn't mean that you give up on this tandem who are very good. They're very talented. So I think that's foolish talk, and I'm not going to have any of that. Also, let's go over the schedule before we continue. So, essentially, today the NBA regular season schedule for 2021 will be released in 2 stages with a play-in tournament May 18th through the 21st. The schedule will be released in two halves. What the league is calling the first half and the second half. The schedule for the first half of the season, which will run from December 22nd to March 4th, will be released around the start of training camp set for December 1st. But the league won't release the schedule for the second half until later in the first half. That will include the rest of each team's 72 regular season games that weren't previously scheduled, as well as any games that were postponed in the first half of the season that can be reasonably be added to the rest of the schedule. What this pretty much means is that they're anticipating positive COVID tests the same way the MLB did it. Uh, I don't know. Obviously, it's a lot different with the NFL how they're going about it, but it makes sense because with all the COVID, uh, you know, spiking up in the last, I would say, week, supposedly, according to a lot of reports. So it's not looking good in that perspective. So it makes sense to have a first half schedule, then the second half schedule. Then what I like though is that they're gonna have an in-play tournament, right? Which again, let's get to that part of it. The league said its board of governors unanimously approved the play-in tournament proposal on a one-year basis in a vote Thursday. The teams with the seventh and eighth highest winning percentages will have two chances to make the playoffs, while the teams with the ninth and 10th best winning percentages will have one chance. The 7th 8th game will be between the teams ranked 7th and 8th, while the 9 and 10 game will feature the teams ranked 9 and 10th. The winner of the 7th 8th game will advance to the playoffs. The loser will host the winner of the 9th and 10th game, as had been previously reported. The NBA Finals are set to run through July 22nd. The Summer Olympics begin July 23rd, and the qualifying tournaments for the remaining four spots in the men's field are scheduled to run from June 29th to July 4th. Okay. uh, that was a lot, right? That was a lot of information. But we're going to have this play-in tournament, which, you know, as a Kings fan, which a lot of you guys are, who follow this channel, it gives you hope. And we'll go over the bogey trade and the potential stuff that could happen. I just finished talking to Buddy Hield right now, believe it or not. He still wants to get traded, regardless of what happened. That's normal. The way he feels, how Luke Walton has treated him in terms of not starting. He doesn't care about starting. What he cares about is having a real role, a defined role, like not being benched in the fourth quarter. You know, if the coach tells you that you're one of the best players on the team, but yet he benches you in the fourth for defensive purposes, right? That's how they like to mask it. That's fine, but that should give you an idea of why he's upset. It's not just, oh, I'm coming off the bench. It never had anything to do with that. It was more so giving them a defined role. So if you tell them, okay, you're a very important piece to this roster, to this team, but then you don't play him in big moments where you need his shooting, regardless of his defensive deficiencies, because a lot of players on this team had defensive deficiencies, right? There was a little bit of favoritism, in his opinion, is what he's told me. And it's tough. I see his perspective. And even though Monte McNair values him, Luke Walton, from what we saw last year, really doesn't. So that is the major reason why he wants to get traded. Now there are reports where you saw the whole Dallas. I don't see the Kings trading him to Dallas. I don't, because I don't know. Hardaway to me, again, isn't an upgrade, and it doesn't really fit the rebuild. Now, if Atlanta somehow would want him, if everything goes wrong with acquiring Gordon Hayward, then things could change. So right now they are trying. Their number one option is Gordon, and rightfully so. He's a hell of a basketball player when he's healthy. That makes a lot of sense. So can the Kings flip and get a potential number 6 pick? And if that happens, you're gonna have maybe Denny there. If he falls, that'd be a blessing in disguise. I would love to have Denny Advia on my team. I think he's going to be really, really good. Borderline all star at the bare minimum for his career, in my opinion. I'm. I don't want to guarantee it, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be an all star at least once in his career. I think he's that good. And then you also have the option of drafting Okoro, right? Where he's going to fit, he's going to fill in the need at small forward. So that's very interesting. And then if they can somehow, I see the thing is, I think Atlanta, if they do that, they're going to demand the number 12 pick. But if they can somehow just maybe, add other pieces to that and get the number 6 and still have number 12, then the rebuild has officially begun. And I know a lot of you guys are upset about that, but today on November, what is it, 17th, 16th, 18th, whatever the case may be, Dante DiVincenzo is not a better basketball player than Bogdan Bogdanovic. I know I've seen those things all around social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I get it. You want to be positive, but let's not lie to ourselves. He's not a better player than Bogey. Like, he's not. Can he be better this season? Sure he can. Can he be as good? Sure he can. But as of today, the reason why you trade Dante for a Bogey is because you believe Bogey is a better basketball player. He's a better playmaker. He's a better shooter. He's not a better defender than Dante. Dante's a better defender today. But overall, Bogey is a better basketball player, has won at the European level on multiple occasions. He is a winner by nature. He takes big shots. He wants those shots. He's going to add so many different elements to the Bucks. So when I see that, oh, Dante is just as good, it's kind of like it's a disrespect to Bogey, in my opinion. Now, I'm not gonna say that he can't reach that level this season. He's more than capable. I love Dante first and foremost. Love the kid. Love his tenacity on the floor. He plays like there's no tomorrow. He plays the right way. You should always want to play the right way. That is Dante DiVincenzo, okay? But today, to say that he's as good or even better is a joke. Like, he's not. He's not better. He could potentially be better or be as good this season, sure. But let's not get carried away. The Bucks got better, acquiring Bogey, acquiring Jrue Holiday. That team is going to be so tough to beat in the East. As of today, if the Nets don't somehow make that trade happen with the Rockets and get James Harden, the Bucks are the team to beat in the East. They will be the number 1 seed again, and if Giannis can stay healthy and play big minutes, if Coach Bud can play him the amount of time that he deserves to play in the playoffs, not 29 minutes a game, then the Bucks should be right there knocking on the door to the NBA Finals. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Uh, Ty says don't sleep on Ilyasova. LOL. I agree. I would feel better about the trade if we got a pick or two. The thing is, the Bucks really had nothing to give up because they gave up everything for Jrue Holiday. So you get cap flexibility from the deal, right? I believe this. I believe the dates are. Bielita is November 19th and Ilyasova is November 20th, the day that you can either release them or their salaries are guaranteed. So the next couple of days will be very, very interesting. So that will be on Thursday and on Friday. So the Kings have some big decisions to make. If they can't trade Ilyasova, I think they'll release him. That's my prediction of what's going to happen. As of right now, here in Texas, it's Wednesday, so it's draft day in some sense. Shout out to you, Ty. Ty will be doing big things tomorrow, covering, doing a lot of videos because I have a long day of shooting tomorrow. I don't know what time I'll be available to do this. Hopefully, I can get on the call with Monte McNair tomorrow, roughly about 8 p.m. Pacific time. So it'll be about 10 p.m. Yeah, I think that'll do for me because it's 10. It'll be 10 p.m. here. So that should work. I think I'll be on the call with Monte to see what they did. I'm very intrigued if they stay put and keep Buddy, and then if they draft whoever they draft at 12, which I still haven't decided, man. I'll be honest. I'm torn between Kyra, Aaron Neesmith, and Sadiq Bey. It comes down between those three guys. Killian Hayes to me will not be available by the time the Kings draft at number 12 if they stay there. Killian Hayes will be a top 10 pick. Make no mistake about it. If Killian Hayes somehow drops, then you draft him at 12. Best player available, without question. But I don't think he'll be available at 12. So your options will probably be Neesmith, Sadiq Bey, Kyra Lewis. Who do you draft if you're the Sacramento Kings? It's going to be very, very interesting. So, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know. In other news, too, what we saw was the Rockets and the Wizards discussing a deal centered around Russell Westbrook and John Wall. That's interesting to me. Do the Wizards value Russell Westbrook more? John Wall is younger, but he's coming off an injury. So that must tell you something, that they do not trust him to stay healthy. Even though Russ was banged up and coming off an injury in the bubble, they still, in hindsight, because of these reports, it feels like they trust Russell Westbrook more to stay healthy and be a backcourt mate to Bradley Beal, which I think is fascinating to me. So keep your eye on that. That'll be interesting to see, though. Russell Westbrook in Washington, in the East, okay, and then John Wall coming to the West. He's gonna be really hungry. If they trade Buddy, you got to take Neesmith. 1000% agree. Best shooter in the draft. Ty says straight up for Okoro. Kings fan says I would want him to pair with Buddy Primus. Okay. Cringe Master, the GOAT. What's up, little Cringe Master? Not high on Maxey. I like Maxey, but I'm not drafting Maxey at 12. I like him a lot, but I don't like him more than the three guys I've named. Like, if I have an additional pick and he's available, and say you go Kyra, or say you go Sadiq Bey, and then you somehow say you do make that deal with Dallas, and Maxey is still available, then you draft Maxey. So then you got Bey and Maxey. I like those two players. Does DJ Wilson have any value? It depends on who you ask. I'm not sold on DJ. I've never been, and I know he's a Sacramento guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he proves me wrong because I want him to succeed. I just, from watching him play the past few years, I'm not really sold on him at the NBA level. So I don't know what to expect. Today, Jabari Parker opts in unless they trade him. I don't think they'll waive him. So unless they trade him, I don't know how DJ Wilson gets playing time over Jabari. And also, it depends on what they do with Alex Lynn. The Kings are going to have a lot of decisions to make very, very soon. So I don't know how to really gauge DJ Wilson right now because there are a lot of question marks on his roster. In theory, he could be a solid stretch four, but yet again, he was on a very good basketball team, like very, very the best regular season basketball team last year, and even the year before they were really good too. So yeah, it's tough. Like, it's really hard to really give a real analysis on him because he really never got a chance, and I don't know how he practiced. I really haven't asked much about him in terms of Bucks people, but I'm sure I'll ask very, very soon, and hopefully we get to ask and get to know these guys a little bit better and see where they're at physically, mentally. We got the email for credentials, so it seems like they will let media in. I got the email today. Probably after this, I'll be sending out my requests, so that's gonna be fun. I'm excited about another year, another season, and an opportunity. So bless God for that. Do you see Belly coming back? You know, I would want to keep Belly because he's such a good basketball player. He stretches the floor. He does what you want when you have a point guard like De'Aaron Fox. So I would keep Belly, but at the same time, that's not Monte's guy. That was Vlade's guy, and I wouldn't be shocked if they waived him, which is I think by Thursday, right? The 19th. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there. Dante will be loved and sacked for his defense. Okay. Michael Garcia says Dante is the truth. Okay. Uh, I love the positivity. Ashley says true. Bogey is better, but Dante has potential, and that's why we are taking a risk on him. Okay. I agree with you, but we have to agree on this. Bogey is better today. Like right now, on November 16th, November 17th, November 18th, November 19th. Until we see Dante put it together on the Kings, then I'll be like, okay, he's right there. But as of today, he's not better. John Wall's washed. Okay. What's up, Percy? What's up, brother? Ashley says, from the clips I've seen of Sadiq Bey shows a slow release on his shot. He also brings the ball across his chest when he shoots. I think he's been working on it, but I don't know. That makes me nervous to draft him. Those are fair. Those are fair criticisms, honestly. And that's why he's not my number 1 or 2. He's really my number 3, number 4. Again, I love Kyra and I love Aaron Nesmith at number 12. So that's where I'm at. It's really between those two guys. And I know a lot of people like Patrick Williams, but man, I just like these two kids, man. Obviously, my favorite player in the draft is Denny. And then I love LaMelo Ball. I love Anthony Edwards. I don't love Wiseman. I love Okongwu. I like Okoro. You know, there are a lot of good players in this draft. What's up, Amari Banks? It's Royal. Hey, shout out to Royals Den, man. My boy Amari will be working with us very, very soon. Amazing graphic designers, killing it on this page. Hopefully, we can benefit together, grow his page while still providing really good coverage on Cowbell Kingdom. So shout out to my boy Amari Banks, man. Give him a follow at Royals Den on Instagram. What's up, Edward? What's up, brother? I read a lot of great things from fans on Dante. Ty says I'm monitoring Steven Adams' situation, wondering if OKC will want to unload his contract for more first rounders. I say hell no to that. I don't want Steven Adams, Aquaman in Sacramento. Not for any first round pick. Asher says Denny's a star. I can't wait to see him play in the NBA. Me too, bro. Yes, sir. So let's go over some other news, right? Which is the Houston Rockets are expected to sign Jason Tate, athletic kid. The deadline for Gordon Hayward to accept or decline his $34.2 million player option has been extended from 5 p.m. today to Thursday at noon. Obviously, the Celtics are shopping him. They're trying to get the best deal possible. That could be a name where the Celtics and the Kings could potentially swap guys like a Buddy Hield and a Hayward being the centerpieces, and then, you know, filling up the rest, which would be what, Kojo? So Kojo and Buddy for Hayward. You know, that could work for both sides. I think that'd be a win-win in my opinion. That's my opinion though. I know Buddy wouldn't mind going to Boston. The Knicks and the Hornets are the only teams with trade interest in Westbrook, was what Mark Stein said. That's interesting. Again, shout out to Bogey, man. Class act, consummate professional. Will miss him a lot. The Rockets, traded Robert Covington to Portland. Let's give Portland a round of applause, okay? And even a DJ air horn, bro, because that was a hell of a deal. Like legit, that was a hell of a deal. They finessed him for sure. Um, I think he's gonna really help the Blazers. I think he's really gonna help the Blazers. Jeremy Grant will be unrestricted. Also, Chris Paul, which we haven't discussed, is a Phoenix Suns, and I've seen a lot of comments on social media about, oh, he's old. They gave up a lot for him, and I'm like, bro, it's the Suns, just like the Kings. If you're in a win now mentality, yeah, you may have to give up some of your assets. It's just the way it works. You're trying to win basketball games. You're trying to make a playoff appearance. You got to do what you got to do. Chris Paul is one of the most decorated point guards in NBA history. The best point guard of my generation. Obviously, Steph will be better than him. But I'm talking early 2000s. To me, it's Chris Paul. And then when Steph really took off with his MVP years is when, he became the best point guard. But before that, and even right now, Chris Paul is still so good, even at his age. He lost so much weight last season with OKC. Was arguably in the best shape of his life, and he played at an All NBA level. You gotta give him respect. And if he continues that with Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and those cats over there, they could make some noise. They very well could make some noise. Is it a risk to trade for him at this stage of his career? Absolutely. But you got to take risks to win games. It's so difficult to win games at the NBA level. So respect to that front office and the Suns for taking the risk. I know you had to give us some assets. Ricky Rubio, a very good basketball player. Kelly Oubre, a good basketball player. And I don't know how many first round picks, but OKC has a lot of first round picks. That's crazy to me. Like they have so many first round picks, bro. I think, man, until 2027, if I'm not mistaken, they have like 16. Like something crazy like that is. I mean, that's nuts to even say out loud. Anthony Davis obviously is an unrestricted free agent, but he's gonna be a Laker. He declined his option. I think they're really trying to make moves. Dennis Schroeder's gonna help the Lakers a lot. I love Dennis. So fast. He's so pesky defensively. He can't shoot, but he's really gonna help the Lakers. Such an upgrade over Rajon Rondo. Big time upgrade. I mean, this dude is a legit basketball player. He arguably should have won Sixth Man of the Year, but again, I'm not mad at Trez winning it either. But he was definitely 1A 1B last year. Had a significant role for the OKC Thunder, and I think that was a win-win for both teams, but really for the Lakers. Like that, to me, that's a win-win. Like Dennis Schroeder is really good. CB3 not washed, 17. Dennis Trey was vital for them. Yeah, man, like that was crazy. Uh, so let's get to the questions, right? Let's get to the questions on CK. Let's get to them. Let me see. All right, let's see. How is E-Man? Good. Did this trade make us better, and do you think the Kings blow it up? Kind of answered that already. Potential of Buddy and Barnes and Kojo trades. Again, they should entertain those type of things. A Buddy and Kojo for potential of a Gordon Hayward, I think it makes sense for both squads. The Kings would be taking the risk, obviously, and if it doesn't work out with Gordon, then you let him walk, and you have like cap flexibility, so it makes sense. So now, if you do that, you're kind of retooling, right? Where you have Dante, Hayward at the 3, De'Aaron at the 1. That's nice. That's not bad. That's not bad. Again, who will the Kings draft pick? Who will they pick at 12? Will the Kings trade Buddy this offseason? Kind of already went over all that. Do the mock draft, especially. I'll do a mock draft, okay. Dawson Killing Hayes went over that. Buddy to Denver, okay. Buddy Denver's one. And then Buddy and the 12 for the 6 for the Hawks. Someone we draft. Obi Toppin, what you think? Nah. If you get 6 and Denny's there, you draft Denny. And if a Coral's there, then you draft the Coral. If you get 6, those are my 2 options. Those are my 2 targets. Now, Buddy to Denver to me is interesting. You're not going to get Michael Porter Jr., so just stop. I saw some of those and I was like, are they drunk? Like, they're not going to give up Michael Porter Jr. for Buddy Hield. And, that's my good friend, but they're not going to do that. So stop it. Okay. So, guys that could come in return if it's just a two-team trade would be Harris. Honestly, I think it'd be Harris. But yet again, do you want to do that? Like, I wouldn't do that. Now, if you get Harris in the first, might have to think about that. That's tough. I think I would rather go with the Celtics deal. A Kojo and a Buddy for a Gordon is what I prefer to do. If you're retooling, not full, blow it up type stuff, but because again, when he's healthy, Gordon Hayward is really good. And he hasn't been healthy for a while now. But if he can stay healthy, if De'Aaron can stay healthy, and then if a lot of the Dante lovers out there who think he's better than Bogey, if he performs at that level, then you have something. Because you still have Marvin Bagley, right? You would still have Rashawn Holmes. You would still have Harrison Barnes. I mean, that's not a bad squad. Honestly, like that's not a bad squad. Fox is going off. Sleepy Boy 530. Shout out to you. I would not do either of those trades. Okay. King should have drafted MPJ. Shaking my head. I want Melo on the Kings so bad. Again, LaMelo Ball is a beast, bro. Like, that kid's going to be so good. I just hope he doesn't go to the Cavaliers. Detroit would be dope. Knicks would be dope. But if he goes to the Cavs, man, I don't know. I don't think he's going to Minnesota. Again, man, I love Melo. I love Anthony Edwards. It's gonna be interesting, man, for sure. It's gonna be interesting, man. Uh, People easily forget Gordon was an all-star on the Jazz. That was a few years ago, though. I think Hayward is past his prime. Okay. I hope Bagley isn't a broken dice this year. I'm with you. I'm hoping that he regains his spirits and he blocks out all the negative noise that he's seen on social media from Kings fans. It's tough, man. Like, he's not out there intentionally trying to get injured. That's not what he's trying to do. It just happens that he played hard and he got injured, man. And just, I feel for the kid. Like, I really do. Take notes from the Thunder and the Pelicans. I feel like they got deeper. Hornets 100%. I can't wait to see how the Kings are going to play this coming season. Kings should trade for Melo Ball. Melo should go to Charlotte. Melo to Chicago would be hard. I like that. That'd be dope. Big bust wherever Melo goes. Nah. Buddy for Brogdon in the first. They're not trading Brogdon in the first, bro. They're not. Brogdon is really good. Like, Malcolm is really good. Portland gonna be good. Don't sleep on the Dubs too. Ain't nobody gonna sleep on the Dubs, bro. The Dubs are gonna be a top 5 team next year. Like, the Dubs are really good. Like, really good. I can't pass on that Devin. After Hayward's injury, his value has dropped a lot. He's just not the same player. See, Gordon had a lot of stretches last year for Boston when you would ask yourself, like, man, like, he's back, and then he'd get hurt, and then he regained his composure and play really well, and then it'd be like, he got hurt again. Then he came off the injury, right? And it sucks because he didn't get to see his baby boy be born because he decided to play with his teammates. I would have preferred to see my baby boy be born, especially because he had all daughters, and I know he wanted a boy for a long time. And then his chance came, and he didn't see the birth of his child, which is unfortunate. Girl or boy, like you would want to see your child, regardless of what you play, man. I know it's a sacrifice, but that's your child. You know what I mean? Like that's more important than just a game of basketball, in my opinion. So I think there's still enough in the tank for him. It's just a matter of keeping him healthy. And we all know what the Celtics did with Isaiah Thomas. I'm not gonna flat out just blame that staff over there, that athletic staff, but they're not the best. So, and then there are question marks about the Kings people as well. I'm taking a leap of faith on Gordon because I know the talent and the skill set is still there. It's still there, believe it or not. In my opinion, it's still there. It's whether or not he can stay healthy for me, because he's really good when he does stay healthy. He's a secondary playmaker who can do a little bit of everything. He's a good defender. He's a great mid-range shooter. He can hit a three. Smart basketball IQ. I mean, what more do you want? Obviously, it's a lot of money. I get it. And maybe you restructure his contract if you do get him, and if he does play well, maybe he takes 25 like Harrison Barnes did, right? That's what you have to do when you're the Kings. You have to overpay for guys. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. You're the Kings, man. You're not the Lakers. You're not the Celtics. The Celtics overpaid. That's funny. You're not the Heat. You're not a big market team with success. The Kings have been a joke for 14 plus years. You don't get to decide to dictate if you underpay a guy. That's just how it is. Not Monte, not if it was Greg Popovich, not any great GM. If you're the Kings, if they were the GM for the Kings, would get away with not overpaying for guys. That's just how it is. You're not the Warriors. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. You don't get to decide if a player is overpaid or not because you're a bad organization. And that hurts to say it, but it's the truth. They're a bad organization. They don't win games. They haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. They need to break that streak ASAP. One thing Vladi did do give us is a bunch of players with value. Okay? He would just want to chill with his daughters and stream. LOL. Sacramento should have kept. Hey, IT's available now. So that's that. Harrison Barnes for Gordon Hayward. That's not a bad deal either, honestly. That could work. Obviously, you would have to add somebody else because his contract is still $10 million more. Probably adding Kojo to that. Can we talk about how the Warriors and Kings were in the same position 10 years ago? And look at us now. Poco. Hey, Poco gonna be nice. I don't know though. He's a risk. You're swinging for the fences for like that pogo stick, man. Like he's like a pogo stick to me. Who's going to be there at the top King scorer as of now? I mean, De'Aaron got to be your best scorer. De'Aaron got to be your best player, period. So let's talk about the Kira Lewis possibility real quick before I end this stream because it's been 39 minutes. So Kira Lewis to me is he would control the second unit at first. A lot like that Dennis Schroeder type element that he brought to the OKC Thunder, but still played alongside De'Aaron Fox or played alongside Chris Paul last year and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like they had three guard lineups a lot. I can see something like that against certain teams where you're playing Kyra and Fox together. It's all going to depend on if whether or not Fox can develop a shot or if Kyra can develop a shot. I know Kyra in the Zoom call said that we really haven't seen his off-ball play and his off-ball movement because he was on the ball. So to me, that's very, very intriguing. You can't teach a speed. Both De'Aaron and Kyra have that speed, which is blazing. So they could have worked together. And at number 12, what do you have to lose? You're going to draft a guy who can pretty much run your second unit. So De'Aaron takes a break. Hey, guess what? I'm going to bring in another speed demon. I like the sound of that, man. Like, I really do. I'm really torn between him and Neesmith, though. Like, I really love Neesmith's ability to shoot the basketball. His size is good. Nobody's talking about his size to play shooting guard and small forward in today's NBA. If he puts on a little bit more weight, he's gonna be just fine. So it's interesting. Like, it's really, really interesting. Isaac Okoro, the best player outside the top 5. Okay, mark my words. What's up, my boy Noah? Hopefully the traveling's going well. Dante's going to be average 15 a game this year. He got some solid all-around game. Excited to see him play. Very smart basketball IQ and crazy athletic. Low key, man, he has a 40-inch vertical. I think it's more than 40 inches, but this dude can fly for sure. Dante is a crazy athlete. Crazy athlete. People were down on Kristaps. He proved everyone wrong until his injury. Neesmith will not get past at Spurs at 11. Ooh, that's interesting. He may be right, but I think they will pass on him. But again, I'm obviously if they draft Neesmith, then to me it's easy. Then you draft Kyra at 12, right? But if you have the option between Kyra and Neesmith, man, it just depends on what you do with Buddy. Like if you get rid of Buddy, then you gotta draft Neesmith. But if you don't, oh, man, I might have to say Kyra, bro. It's tough. I'll give you guys my solid, regardless of what happens tomorrow or later today, really, because it's already Wednesday over here in Texas. But oh man, I'm torn, guys. I'm really torn. I love Killian Hayes' game, but Neesmith would be a great. Again, if Killian Hayes is there, then I draft him over both those guys. But he's not going to be there. I just think it's funny to see those type of mock drafts of Killian Hayes dropping to 12. Like that's not going to happen. Other than that, man, thank you guys so much for all the support. It was fun doing this. Shout out to Tosh. Shout out to Corey. Shout out to E. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Hopefully it's a memorable one where the Kings are great and they make good moves to retool and get better. I'm hoping. Please. I don't want to see another year where they're not competitive. I want a competitive year where they compete for a playoff spot. That's all we can really ask for. If you guys can drop a review on iTunes if you haven't already, please do so. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and we'll see you guys on the next one.